Back in the 80s and 90s, WWF was like a steroid-fueled acid trip. Half sports, half circus, all chaos. You had grown-ass men dressed like cops, garbage men, and voodoo priests body-slamming each other for a crowd of screaming kids and emotionally neglected dads, and somehow it worked. It was pure magic. If your idea of magic is a sweaty dude in tassels screaming about the gods of the universe in between cocaine heart attacks, but where the fuck are these guys now? That's what this series is about. WWF wrestlers, where are they now? The no bullshit breakdown of where your childhood heroes ended up once the pyro stopped, the merch dried up, and Vince stopped pretending to remember their names. Some of them made it out clean, opened gyms, started businesses, found peace. Others crashed harder than Marty Jannetty diving through that barbershop window. We're talking dead broke, real dead, or halfway there with a podcast no one listens to. This ain't no Hall of Fame fluff piece. We're not giving out fake respect to guys who dressed like hockey goalies and got pinned in 90 seconds. We're dragging the truth out of the locker room and putting it in a headlock. Some retired, some rebranded. Some got arrested in a Denny's parking lot wearing a fanny pack and sadness. Either way, they all had a story. And now, we're telling it. Roll call starts now. And spoiler alert, it's gonna get fucking weird. If you were a WWF fan in the late 80s and early 90s, you probably remember the Barbarian, the guy who looked like a war god from Mordor and spoke like he chewed gravel for breakfast. Real name Sione Vailahi, this Tongan terror wasn't just a gimmick. Dude was built like a Samoan fridge and hit like one too. But here's what most fans don't know. After the fur, face paint, and tag team runs, Barbarian didn't fade away. He just kept fucking going. He broke in with Jim Crockett Promotions as Conga the Barbarian, and by 1987 he'd teamed with the Warlord to form the Powers of Pain, looking like two rejected G.I. Joe villains and wrestling like it was a mugging in progress. They jumped to WWF in '88, got Mr. Fuji as a manager, and spent the next few years no-selling everything short of a nuclear bomb. But once that early 90s tag scene got too crowded with dancing clowns and doinkery, Barbarian took the Road Warrior route. WCW, Japan, Puerto Rico, Indies, you name it, he crushed someone there. Now, the man's in Charlotte, North Carolina, living a quiet, damn near wholesome life. He's still jacked beyond human understanding, does conventions, signs autographs, and by all accounts, is one of the nicest, chillest, most respected guys in the biz. He's even done Christian ministry work and helps train the next generation, probably while wearing a cut-off shirt that could legally be classified as intimidation. Bottom line, while a lot of his peers ended up broke, bitter, or booked on Dark Side of the Ring, Barbarian survived it all, and did it without burning bridges, getting arrested, or throwing a single tantrum on a shoot interview. So where's he now? Still scary? Still solid? And probably stronger than you on your best fucking day. In the late 80s, if you saw the Warlord walking down the aisle, your brain screamed two things. That's not a man, that's a fucking Marvel villain. How does a net get that wide? Real name Terry Sopinski, this guy looked like he was sculpted out of beef jerky and rage. Teaming with the Barbarian as the Powers of Pain, they were like two rejected Thunderdome extras who ate steel and crap dumbbells. Managed first by Paul Jones in JCP, then Mr. Fuji in WWF, they were built like the final bosses of a game you couldn't win. And just as charismatic. Warlord's mic skills were, let's say, limited. He once cut a promo so dry it was legally classified as a rice cake. Vince slapped a silver mask and staff on him in the early 90s for a solo run, turning him into some kind of cyber warlord BDSM dungeon master. And shockingly, it didn't take off. Who would have guessed? But where is he now? Buckle up. He's a goddamn family man, lives in Georgia, does security work, and by all reports is one of the sweetest, most low-key retired wrestlers in the business. No arrests, no shoot interviews where he buries the boys, no weird supplements company scams. The man just cashed his checks, raised his kids, and chilled the fuck out. He still pops up at wrestling conventions, still looks like he could deadlift your car, and somehow his skin has maintained that perfect mid-90s tanning bed orange glow. Fans say he's polite, humble, and absolutely not the kind of guy who would ever beef with anybody unless they tried to stiff him on a hotel breakfast. So yeah, the Warlord didn't crash and burn. He soft-landed into domestic bliss, which, given his look, is like finding out the Predator moved to the suburbs and started coaching Little League. George Gray should have gone down as a monster heel. As the one-man gang, he was a 450-pound walking battering ram. Mohawk, chains, and zero cardio. He beat up baby faces like it was a hate crime and looked like he could break a turnbuckle just by leaning on it. He was scary. He was real. Then Vince McMahon decided to make him African. Thus, Akeem was born. A Minnesota white boy in a yellow dashiki doing fake-ass street dancing while babbling in a made-up accent. McMahon wanted a parody of Dusty Rhodes. What he created was one of the most racially tone-deaf gimmicks ever televised. Akeem was paired with Slick, called himself the African Dream, and shook his ass like he was summoning the ghost of Jim Crow. The gimmick got heat, mostly the wrong kind. The best part of it was his tag team with Big Boss Man as the Twin Towers, doing jobs for Hogan and Savage like good little cartoon villains. Once the gimmick fizzled, Gray went back to being one-man gang in WCW and then faded out of the spotlight in the late 90s. Post-wrestling, Gray became a prison guard at Angola, one of the toughest prisons in America. That's right, he went from fake African Dream to real correctional nightmare. After a back injury ended that gig, he started doing convention appearances and nostalgia shows. No Akeem gear, just stories, signatures, and deep, deep regret. Still alive, still enormous, still can't believe he did that shit. Barry Horowitz didn't win matches, he made stars. This dude was the go-to punching bag in WWF during the 80s and 90s. You know how jobbers just kind of show up, get bodied in 2 minutes, and leave with a medical bill? Barry turned it into performance art. He was bumping like Flair on speed, flopping around the ring like a man whose only offense was hope. He wore suspenders, patted himself on the back, and still got his ass beat. Weakly, but he did it with style. His big moment came in 1995 when, in a legit shocker, he beat Skip from the Body Donnas, clean. The crowd popped like someone had just seen God tap out. Vince gave him a short push, then yeeted him back to Jobberville like that fluke never happened. Barry stuck around the lower card, had a decent run in WCW, and then vanished. Turns out he became a motivational speaker, youth counselor, and pops up occasionally at wrestling signings. He's proud of his legacy, as he damn well should be. Barry helped build stars. He sold better than half the guys who got belts. And most importantly, he took the fall so others could rise. Still alive, still rocking that mullet, still giving himself that sweet, sweet back pat. Because in the world of jobbers, Barry's the fucking goat. Boris Jukov was basically what happens when you lose a bar fight to Nikolai Volkov and decide to cosplay as his cousin. Real name? Jim Harrell, and yes, he was 100% American. Georgia-born, bald by choice, and rocking a fake Russian accent so thick it probably violated NATO treaties. Boris made his name as a tag guy in the AWA, and then got scooped up by WWF in the late 80s during their "we're still scared of Russia" phase. Vince shoved him into the Bolsheviks with Volkov, a team based entirely on bad accents and waving red flags at Reagan-era crowds. Their matches were sloppy, their promos were painful, and they jobbed to everyone short of the popcorn vendor. His biggest accomplishment? Losing a flag match in under 2 minutes at WrestleMania 6. That's it. That's the highlight reel. After getting kicked to the curb in the early 90s, Boris popped up in the indies, did a few nostalgia gigs, and then quietly pieced out of the business. He worked regular jobs and kept a low profile, even as Volkov cashed in on the gimmick for years. Still alive, still bald, and probably still wondering how the hell he made a living yelling "Yet!" at American kids in the front row. Boris didn't just lose matches. He lost the Cold War every fucking week. So what did we learn today, folks? That wrestling is a fucking fever dream, where a guy named George Gray can pretend to be African, a bald dude from Georgia can scream communism in a Russian accent, and Barry Horowitz can lose 500 matches and still come out a goddamn hero. This isn't a sport. It's performance-enhanced schizophrenia, and somehow it worked. These guys didn't just fall off TV. They fell off the face of the earth, then resurfaced signing VHS tapes in VFW halls next to a table of expired Slim Jims. Some of them bounced back. Some of them became prison guards. Some of them are still out there, working indie shows for gas money and a hot dog, proud as hell. And you know what? They should be, because it takes a special kind of lunatic to wear spandex, get dropped on their head 300 nights a year, and smile while doing it. These weren't the top guys. They weren't champions. They were the weird, the forgotten, the laughable. But they were ours. So here's to the ones who didn't make the Hall of Fame, but made the show fun as fuck while it lasted. We'll be back with more freaks, more failures, and more "he's still alive" moments. Until then, pat yourself on the back like Barry, crank up Akeem's entrance theme, and remember, wrestling is fake, but the injuries, the lawsuits, the pain, 100% shoot, baby. Don't forget to subscribe and like, We've got more washed-up legends, bizarre gimmicks, and forgotten warriors coming your way. From curtain jerkers to main event meltdowns, this ride's just getting started. You think this was wild? Wait till you see who's still breathing in the next episode. Thanks for watching.